Okay, so as I said, I'm going to start from the DNA. My parents, and that's me in the center. So my dad is a retired army officer. My mother is a maths and science teacher. I don't know why we are dressed like this. We don't dress up like this at home. It's some fancy occasion that I don't remember. Then this is me, intentionally in a fancy dress. I like to wear different kinds of dresses and become different characters. Okay, about myself, I did my graduation in fine arts and I did my post graduation. That's where I learned animation filmmaking from the National Institute of Design. So, my gratitude to my education institute. These are my kids. You can see the fancy dress bug is there in them as well. They are much grown up now. These are old pictures. But that little madness, I'm very happy that these are my colleagues. Over the years, in 2003, we started Vaibhav Studios. So, over the last 2 decades, we worked with amazing, very, very inspiring, talented artists. So these are all the artists that have been part of the studio. That's the latest bunch that we have, and so that's where those studios. And what I like to do now is to share some of the films. Like I'll just start with a small sizzle reel. It's a 2-minute sizzle reel, that introduces you to the kind of work that we do. So here goes.
Boys!
Did that play okay? Was the audio and the
It
video
was a brilliant
playback
start.
fine?
It was
Okay,
awesome.
okay. Thank you, Davina. So I'm just going to go into certain case studies. Like the next shot is a very, very short 20-second AIDS awareness campaign that we created. It's stop motion, it is miniature puppets, and it's a very short film.
তোমাকে ফাটাফাটি দেখতে লাগছে।
তোমাকেও হেভি লাগছে।
তোমার সেন্টটাও কি দারুণ।
তোমার হাত দুটো কি গরম।
সঙ্গমের ইচ্ছে জাগতে পারে যে কোনো মুহূর্তে, তাই কন্ডম সঙ্গে রাখুন।
আরো জানতে ফোন করুন বুলাদিকে 1097 এ বিনামূল্যে।
এ কি সঞ্জয়, তোমার টাক পড়ে গেছে যে।
Okay, so that was a very, very short one, but I really like this because the scripts were extremely bold and it discusses the AIDS. It was a very, very old project, and this was the time when AIDS was very prevalent. And you can see that these are all miniature puppets. So I'm just very quickly, as I talk about this, take you through the very crude process. We love doing handmade, like Davina mentioned. I'm also a very non-tech guy. So I'm going to take you through these doodles and handmade puppets, which we use very simple material like styrofoam and aluminium wire to build these puppets. And there is foam on top of the characters. And then finally, we had a mixed medium where we built the puppets and drew the features in 2D on top of the 3D puppets. So every puppet would have a 3D structure and a 2D doodle on top of that. You can see all the props, small lanterns, switchboards, fans, and the set being physically assembled. And you can see one of the locations which is ready and freshly painted. But then once the cinematographer comes in, they add such life to the location, and it comes alive. And with the characters, we shot these characters with these 3 track points. And as I mentioned before, we composited the 2D expressions much later. So again, seeing a physical space, as I mentioned before, the story dictates the environment. So this 3D is a physical 3D and not a digital 3D. So this was a first case study that I just wanted to share with you guys. It's puppet and stop motion. I'd like to go into the next one, which is again, it's another short film. This is a crazy film. Let's see it, and then I'll talk over it.
Wait!
Okay, so it's a very, very short film. It's an ident for Nickelodeon in India. I'm going to play one more. Okay, so one thing that I must confess here is uh, a large part of what we do uh, is following our own wish list. It's the next one is also going to be Nick, but before we go into that, it's very important as creators, as storytellers, to keep nurturing your wish list. What are the things that you wish to do? We find an excuse to do it through our films. So the one that you saw with the ink on paper is basically a very talented director that worked with us called Rajiv Ipe. That was his sketchbook. And we wanted those images and illustrations to come alive. So it's nonsense. There's no story to it, but it's audio visual fun. So some of them, some of the films are story based, some are non-linear, which just have fun with these films. Okay, I'm going to another film, which is a mixed media with live action and digital 3D characters. This is for Vodafone. Okay, so that is again a very short TV commercial for the telecom brand. So as you see, we're doing a lot of commissioned work, but we are also trying to create our own IP and pitch our ideas to our clients. So these are the commercial work that that's our bread and butter. Sometimes there are projects that we really love to do, but there's no budget. But if we enjoy, if we think that it's worth doing, there are many times we make our money through certain projects, and then we do certain projects without any money. It's an entirely free project. Every teammate contributes to the cause. So this was one such film which I'm very, very keen to share with you guys. the audio and the video? Did it all play fine?
Yeah, except we're all crying now. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's why, that's the reason we all jumped into that project and wanted to do it, wanted to bring it to life. So, okay, so now I'm going into a bit of IP creation. Like I'm again going back to the wish list. So this was a phase where we were doing a lot of digital 3D work and I was getting bored of it. Like I mentioned before, I'm allergic a bit to that. So I wanted to come back to very crude, non-digital ways of making film. So as you can see on screen, we pitched an idea to Nickelodeon, which involved just paper cutouts, shooting them on location using stop motion, and just using paper characters. So it was an entire campaign. Paper characters was one of them. There was stop motion where we had, singing eggs opera with the eggs. And then we also went into Indian food. These are like traditional food and trying to have fun with food items. So I'm going to quickly pause this and share some films, as long as it's playing well, So the first film that we saw, the cricket film. Okay, so that was the first in the campaign. Uh, as you see, it's all crude, everything shot on location. The second one is another nutcase. It's a mad film, nonsense, totally. But we had a lot of fun, working on this. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's a mad film just based on South Indian food and snacks, and obviously ending with the brand logo. This was the Eggs film. Okay, so again, very, very little digital work, all physical miniature set and puppets. Small egg, obviously, real eggshells. Now the next one is again paper cutouts. Okay, and I think the last one is called Rock Concert. So as you can see, it's a very bad pun. These are all rocks, and it's called Rock Concert. So again, over here, there is a little bit of digital drawing on top of it, but the fun of it is animating these rocks and the entire environment, building the environment in physical 3D, and seeing, enjoying the crudeness, the imperfections. So these are all the various production stills from this project. Those are the paper cutout films. So these are all shot on tabletops where we get to see everyday objects, making the space a little more quirky. And you can see, all the artists, these are our technical directors and 3D modelers. So it's very refreshing when they swap mediums, when they go from digital to physical. So it's all hand-drawn characters. The traditional 2D way, you can see the ladder for the in-betweens, and they're all cut out. Each cutout is then assembled. It's like a replacement animation. And this is the fun that I really enjoy, getting your hands dirty with actual charcoal and soft lead. Uh, Again, the wish list was that I wanted to do something with shape morphing. Like in 2D animation, you can morph from one shape to the other. And I was very keen to do something using morph. Probably I had not done some work like that. So I had built a little pitch. Okay, so can you guess for which brand we made this pitch? Uh, you know, okay, I'm sure most of you are muted. So because it was orange and we'd worked so much with Nickelodeon, we wanted to pitch an orange blob and base the entire IP on top of that. So this is this is exactly what we had pitched. So Lumput is the name. It is derived from a lump of clay. So he's called Lumput, the gooey orange nutcase that has escaped from the asylum. And there are these two medical cops that are trying to get him. But Lumput is a master of disguise. And even if he's there, you can't figure out that he's there. And so every time these doctors get to him, he will devise a new way to escape right under their noses. And these are three stories that we'd written of, what will happen. And this was a pitch that we'd made to Nickelodeon. Okay, so now Nickelodeon was not interested. And a couple of years later, Cartoon Network showed a lot of interest to acquire, to take Lumput. And we were very thrilled, and they commissioned a series of films. So I'd like to, again, these are micro shots. They are 15 seconders. They'll be over even before they start. So let's see some of these. Okay, so micro shots. But here, what I want you guys to see is the pitch, which was this, how it translates into films, and the every little shot, including the next one, every little shot is an extension of that plot. Let's see the next one. They're all 15 seconders. Okay, so in 15 seconds, you set up the plot and you introduce a hurdle and you resolve it. Davina, are they playing fine? Is it, you need to just give me feedback because I cannot
There's a no. They're brilliant. They're brilliant. Some last one is lagging a little bit, but we're gonna put all of them up with your consent on the ICE YouTube. But it's super fun.
Definitely. Okay, okay. So here's one more. Okay, I think I'll just play the last one. Oh, I have two more. This is a fun little one. So when you're creating, like we had an entire season one created out of these it was an entire micro short series, 15 seconders, and entire season was just that. You need to come up with many ideas for every situation. Okay, so this was season one, after which, because they were non-dialogue, Cartoon Network commissioned a lot more of this. So season two was 2 minuters, and then we went to 5 minuters, 7 minuters, 11 minuters. And I'm just taking you through some of the stills. We're all hand painted backgrounds with the texture. It's not too clean, it's not too finished, but we like that little crudeness. We love that brush strokes to be seen, the textures to be seen. And we love doing the traditional animation, with in-betweens and keys. And so these are different environments for each of the Lamput stories. This one you guys saw. So there are 4 seasons of Lamput that we finished so far. And if you haven't seen them, I'm sure the links to this. This is the director Anand Babu. The people who work on our films are so critical. Like I mentioned, they're all hand drawn. So Anand Babu is the mad genius who behind Lamput. Ganesh is a fine arts graduate, and he creates these beautiful hand painted backgrounds. He's one of the key artists responsible for the art direction and the backgrounds. Roto, the guy on the right, is called Roto. He is a music composer. He also creates the voices. He's one of the multiple music composers that we have on the show, and he's one of the first people to join on Lamput. This is our entire team brainstorming together. So that's Lamput. Okay, so the next project is very close to our hearts. Let me That's me, and I want to share my motivation for the next project. Is we've been doing a lot of short format, as you saw, and my heart was there to create longer format stories. So this is a very cult comic in India, and it's called Amar Chitrakatha. In the 70s and 80s, it was very popular, and I am an Amar Chitrakatha kid. I grew up on this comic. It is primarily based on folklore, mythology, and Indian, primarily Indian mythology. And I'm very, as a kid, I was so excited with this, and you can see that it's still there within me. My granddad was a great storyteller, and like I mentioned, my dad being an army officer and my mom being a math teacher, thanks to them, I grew up all over the country. That's the map of India. And like, this is a deep example, like a plant absorbs whatever is around it and becomes a unique plant. Similarly, growing up in India, in every part of India, it was so fun, so much fun. And So many stories, so many cultures, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I soaked in all of that. However, this is my personal strong opinion that I feel in India we produce amazing work, but most of it is outsourced work for of our foreign clients. Uh, as a result, I feel we are not telling our own stories to our own audiences and of that particular quality that we do for our outsourced work. So for me, that's a that's personally it's a matter of shame for me that why is it that we are not creating amazing content for our own audiences. Okay, and the Asian Indian audience is such a huge audience and they're all over the globe. So my thinking was that, as you can also see from our work so far, that local flavor, the local is what I know, and if a global audience enjoys it, it's a bonus for me. So with that uh, motivation, our entire team started work on our feature film. It's called Return of the Jungle. And it looks small here, but actually it was huge for us because it's a very small team of 17 to 20 people in the core team. And it's the same team that would do, create commercials for Nickelodeon, for so many other brands, other commissioned work. They would make the money from these projects, and then we would blow it up on our feature film called Return of the Jungle. So this is how we managed, a small team managed over many, many years to invest our own savings and produce, a feature-length film. It's a Hindi animation feature film. And I'm going to show you a little trailer of that film. It's a 2-minute trailer, and then I'll be done. We can open up for question answers. So this is a 2-minute trailer.
धरती के कई विशाल वनों में से ये एक ऐसी जगह है जहां
अबे वो छोड़
इस फ्राइडे को फैंसी ड्रेस कंपटीशन है। तू पार्ट ले रहा है? इस बार का फाइनल जीतना है।
क्रिकेट फाइनल्स की ट्रॉफी कौन जीतेगा?
ताता इस साल ट्रॉफी का कोई चांस नहीं लग रहा।
मुझे नहीं लेना पार्ट फैंसी ड्रेस में।
लेकिन मैच का क्या होगा?
मैं क्या बन सकता हूँ ताता?
अब मैं तुम्हें एक सीक्रेट बात बताता हूँ। जो बाहर से दिखता है वो हमेशा सच नहीं होता, पर अगर आप अंदर से स्ट्रांग हो तो बाहर से जो चाहो बन सकते हो।
अब बस एक ही चाह रहा है।
हेलो
कैसे हो?
तुम लोगों की मैच में धजिया नहीं उड़ाई ना? मेरा नाम भी राहुल मल्होत्रा नहीं।
यार आप क्या करेंगे यार?
मेरे पास एक ब्रिलियंट आइडिया है।
मगर भैया टेंशन मत लो।
जी तुम्हारी ही होगी।
तू चित्रा का चुप कर यार।
संगीत की ना कदर ही नहीं है।
क्या हो गया तुझे? इन लोग को देख के तो मेरा दिल भर आया।
अरे यार
Okay, so that was Return of the Jungle, and I am going to shut my sharing right now. Okay, so I'm done with whatever I wanted to show. Ravina, are we doing good on time? Like, do we?
No, we're fine. I want to watch it all again. Like that little deer thing or whatever that was. My heart is overflowing. I don't know why I'm so emotional. It was so. I think everything that we've seen has this big-hearted quality. There's a little bit of cheekiness involved, and it's very much, the underdog winning. And I think it's just such a lovely thing, a lovely, lovely body of work.
Thank you so much. I think the kind of the teammates that we have, there are such nutcases in the team, and it's their large heart that, shows. So as a director, even to stay refreshed, I depend on them, because there are multiple directors in the team, multiple storytellers, and it's their uniqueness that comes in the variety of work. Even though it's all very local, very Indian, the fun we have is because we treat animation as an art form. So, like I said, based on the story, we give it a body, whether it's clay, whether it is cutouts, paper, charcoal, ink, or digital 3D tools. So we are happy to explore them as tools.
No, it's
So
interesting, Mike. Mike sent a message. By the way, remember, you can't actually ask him for a job, but you can ask Vaibhav any questions because he's employing me, if anyone. I'll be the tea girl. You just throw your question or your comments into the boxes, and I'll shoot them at you. Mike says creativity first, and then the chosen medium second. I love it. Teja says, thank you so much, Vaibhav. That was awesome. I think for me, I would love to hear how you started. I apologize for my assumption, but I'm assuming that India, like Kenya, has not as much of a developed industry, and certainly no institutionalized support. So how did you start the animation studio initially?
So I would like to add that currently it's such a huge industry in India. There is a huge infrastructure, both in terms of training, education, and just a few months ago, there's been government support to animation, visual effects, gaming, and comics. So that's a huge boost as well. But in 95, when I wanted to study animation, uh, I had no clue what job I would get. That was not the motive at all. We grew up watching amazing films and the stories that excited us. And when I got to know that there is a place where I could learn to make animation films, there was no doubt that I was going there. And I had no clue it was not to get a job, but to learn how to make films. And once we did that, uh, there was a lot of outsourced work. I mentioned that many, many times, So even now, 90% of the industry within India does a lot of outsourced work. And that is something which is not our forte. That's why I'm very happy to say that, we should tell our story our way. And that is uh, that is what we've stuck to doing. We've never taken up outsourced work. It's all right from the script. We engage ourselves in that. So thankfully, even though we are a minority, 10% in the industry, we create content which the audience thoroughly enjoys. So it's a small but extremely strong minority, and I'm very, very grateful that we have a lot of opportunities within India, like whether it was TV commercial, whether they are TV channel idents, whether they are episodic series. Like Lamput airs globally through the Cartoon Network channel, Boomerang in Australia, and I think in India they have many other channels, including Pogo, Cartoon Network. So I think there's no dearth of opportunities. It's just that if you can have fun and catch the audience's imagination, there's a lot of work coming your way.
I love that. And what I did read that you were you are an Emmy nominee. What were you nominated for?
Yes, we were. Lamput was nominated in I think in 2019. So Lamput was one of the nominees. We didn't get it, but we were damn thrilled that it made it to the nominees.
No, that's amazing. And then I think, Vaibhav, what about how do you ever feel the stress and the pressure of keeping creative? Hi, Jan. Hi. Keeping creative and keeping ideas going, because even just coming up with Lamput ideas must be very intense. And you're running a company as well, and you're a father.
It is. And especially with the medium of animation, you need to nurture that idea for a very long time. Like I mentioned, our pitch was for Nickelodeon, but it didn't work out. It was a failure. They didn't show any interest. But a couple of years later, when Cartoon Network was excited with this concept, we had to restructure it and then build it. So it takes time, but perseverance is very, very important. And as long as you're excited, you need to nurture that idea and ensure that soul of it shows in every aspect of the production. So that's why I would again come back to the teammates. They are so precious. Their energy is what is contagious. And as a small team, we've saved up over so many years to produce our own feature film as well. So I think we have had a lot of fun doing the kind of work that we do. And even if people are not there to give us money, we've made our own monies, thanks to the commissioned work or the IPs that we've created.
And if you ever get sad, you just adopt a dog.
Yeah.
Vaibhav, Amit is asking, how do you see 3D animations used in Indian movies currently? Does it need more work? Are we on the same level as Hollywood? Does it require guidance from Hollywood artists, or is it enough?
Right.
Where is the Indian industry at?
Yes, so I touched briefly upon that, Amit. In terms of production quality and technology, I think we are there and on par with the rest of the world because we are creating the films for the rest of the world. There are so many Indian animation studios that have won Oscars for their work done on different feature films. So the technology is not what we are lacking. It is a storytelling experience which we need to build, and that is not easy. After only if you dedicate yourself to making multiple films, only then will you be able to make one good story. So the 3D animation as a tool, I think we've learned the tool. We just need to learn to tell our story beautifully so we can engage our audiences. So that is what, in my opinion, we've not done well enough. And our film is purely attempting to do that. So we are at a very crucial junction where we finished the production. Now we are looking at an even more difficult task, which is the distribution and the exhibition of that film. But thankfully, we have a lot of partners that we are discussing it with. So hopefully the feature film also will release very soon.
Vaibhav, if anyone has a brilliant script, how can they get it to you? I'm intent on someone in this meeting getting a job from you.
Lovely. So our contacts are there. Vaibhav Studios, that's the name. If you go to vaibhavstudios.com, you have our contacts. If you want to see more of our films, we have a YouTube channel by the name Vaibhav Studios. So write to us. We are right now extremely busy trying to distribute the film. We've not been even taking interns for some time. But I'm sure all that will change pretty soon. We'll need a lot more hands to help us. So definitely reach out to us with your work.
I'll be there. Graciela has touched on that. She said that she really wanted to go and study stop motion, but she didn't have the means to stay in that job or in the studies. So what is your opinion on the future of this particular art, just with, dare I say it, AI looming around the corner?
Okay, so since you mentioned AI, I would like to add that AI is going to feed off artists like us. We are the ones that are going to create original stuff, and we are the ones that are going to create a library or database for AI. AI is going to depend on our brilliant work. So as long as you have your unique ideas, please stay put and stick to it and produce your work. Concentrate on your work. Don't be afraid of AI. It's a tool. Wherever it can help you, use it. But there's no need to feel insecure. Have fun with your work because you are the unique person and your uniqueness needs to come out in your work. So go ahead with that confidence. And like I said, perseverance. You have to nurture an idea and you cannot give up too soon. I hope that answers the question.
Vaibhav, please can you don't have to employ us. You can just adopt us all. Thank you so much for for your optimism and your energy and for your work as well. What a brilliant start to day 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you all.
Thank you, Vaibhav.